So far we've written all of our code in a single PHP file. While you could write your website or application in a single PHP file, it is pain to maintain, scale, and extend. Eventually you will need to structure and organize your code to help yourself in the future, or help other developers who might work with your code. We'll talk more about the code organization and structuring later in the course once we get to the autoloading and namespaces. But the first step you can take to organize your code is to split your PHP files into multiple files and then simply include them wherever needed. We have 4 statements in PHP that you could use to include files. These are require, require once, include, and include once. These statements simply include and evaluate the given file based on the file path. So the syntax is the keyword of the statement. In this case, let's do include, and then quotes, and you put the file path in here. So we can put file.php, and this will try to evaluate that file and include it within our index.php file. The difference between the include and require is that include will result in a warning, while require will result in an error and stop the script execution. So for example, the file.php is not found, but if we do echo hello world right after and we refresh the page, yes, we're getting warning, but it's still printing hello world, which means that it is not stopping script execution. If we change this to require and we refresh the page, now we don't see the hello world, it just gives us the fatal error. So the script execution stops right here. If no path is specified when using one of these statements, the files are looked up by default from the directory that's set in your php.ini configuration file under the include_path section. And we'll talk about the php.ini and PHP configuration in a separate video, so don't worry about it for now. And if the file doesn't exist there or is not set, then it looks for the file in the current directory of the current script. So in this case, it's trying to locate this file in the same directory where the index.php is, and it's not finding it, and it's giving us an error. So if I create this file and simply do hello from file and put a break line and switch over to index.php, if I refresh, now the file.php is being evaluated and included in the index.php. And these two are the same as the require and include, the difference being that these two will only include the file if it hasn't been included already. So if we duplicate this line right here and we refresh, it's printing twice, right? But if we change this to require once and change this to require once as well and we refresh, now it's only being printed once. That means that the file is being only included one time. This can be useful because you might have some kind of variable here called x equals to 5, for example, and then in here we can say x plus plus and then echo x, and let's add a break line, and then we require file again and we echo out x. So if we refresh the page, we're getting 6, 6, and hello world. And that's expected because file is being included only once. It defines the variable x, which equals to 5. We increment it right here, and then we echo out, and then it doesn't include the same file again, and therefore we just have x. If we change this to require and we refresh the page, now it prints 6 and 5. And the reason for that is because it increments variable x here to 6 and prints it here, but then when we require it again, it overwrites the variable 6 with the value of 5 right here, and now the x is equal to 5, and that's why it's printing 5 here. So that's why when you're including files that have some important functions or some variable declarations or things like that, you might want to use the require once to avoid the function redeclaration errors or variable overriding values like this. You could also define variables above right here, x equals to 5, for example, and remove the incrementing from here and just do the incrementing here. So basically we defined variable x and assigned value 5, then we included the file.php, and file.php takes the variable x because it inherits the variable scope of the parent file, so therefore it is able to do the increment on it, and then we're echoing out here and we are requiring it again and we are echoing it out again. So if we refresh, now we're going to get 6 and 7 because we incremented it once here and we incremented it again here. If we change this to require once, now we're going to get 6 and 6. This is, in my opinion, a bad practice because we are defining variable in one file and modifying it in another file. I just wanted to show you what happens when you do it this way, that it's very easy to introduce complexity and possible bugs to the code. Best use cases, in my opinion, for include and require are for code reusability and structure, and also for cases when you're returning something from the included file. For example, you could define some helper functions in a file and then require that file in all the other files that need those functions. We'll discuss the functions in more detail in the next video, so don't worry about it now. A quick note that the include will return false on failure and 1 on success, unless you add the return statement to the included file. For example, if we assign this to a variable like this, variable y, and we change this to include, and let's delete these, and we did var dump y, we refresh, we're going to get 1. If we change this to a file that doesn't exist, we refresh, we're going to get warning, and we'll get false. As you remember, we talked about the return statement in the previous video. We can basically set the return here and just return some kind of array. And if we go back here and refresh, we're getting the array. This will come in handy later when we start working on configuration files, but don't worry about that for now. We'll get to that in time. Let me show you another use case of these statements, and that is within the HTML. So I'm going to delete all these and switch over to the home.php that I created, and I can go visit home here, and we just have this simple page that has 3 pages. It has the home page, about page, and contact page. Now the way I set this up is that I duplicated the home page across the other pages and just updated the text. But as you can see, this is not that practical, because as I add more pages, I have to keep on duplicating the code. Also, if I need to change something, then I have to make those changes manually to all those pages. To fix this, we could simply extract the partials into another file and then include them here. So I'm going to go ahead here and create a directory called partials and create a new file called nav.php, and I'm going to simply copy this out and put it here. Now in the home page, you already know how to include the file, so I'm going to simply do include nav.php, and this is not going to work because the nav.php exists within the partials directory. So I need to specify the path for it. So I need to do partials nav.php. If I refresh, everything is working as expected. I can go ahead and replace that on other pages as well, and if I refresh the page, everything still works as expected. Now if I had to add another page or make an update to the navigation, I can simply modify the nav.php and it will be applied everywhere else. So for example, we could set the border here and refresh, and it's going to be applied everywhere else. So let's go back to the index page. So I'm going to go back and close these pages out, and let's talk about other use cases. Sometimes you may want to include the content of a file into a string. For example, we have the partial, right? And we may want to include that partial into a string. You can do that by using output control functions. So if we did include partials nav, this is going to print the navigation, but we may want to assign this to a string. If we did something like nav equals to this, and then we did var dump nav, we refresh, this is just going to equal to 1, and it's still printing the navigation on the screen. That's because it actually evaluates that file. So we could do ob start, and then we could include the file, and then we can use ob get clean, and this returns the content of that file. So we could do nav equals to this, and now if we refresh, we're getting that into a string. It is no longer rendering that HTML. So if I remove the var dump, nothing will be printed on the screen. We can do echo nav, and it will print that HTML. Now we could also do some other cool things with it, like alter the content, like nav equals to a string replace, and let's replace about with about us. And if we refresh the page, now we're getting about us. This is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this episode. On the next video, we're going to talk about functions. Thank you for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.